There might be periodic gunshots in this episode, but that's because there's a crazy farmer with a shotgun.
Used to that.
But I'm going to let Miles introduce this episode because I need to safely get out of here. Go on.
Welcome.
Also, speak up a bit because I've noticed some of it you can't really hear what we're saying because we're speaking so low.
Right.
You don't have to shout.
It could be a Yorkshire accent though. Here's the podcast. We're just chatting shit. We could die one day when a tree branch decides to fall on us. There's a couple of others. Whoa!
You alright, lads? Oh yeah, I sat down there. I shotgun them.
Yeah.
Hello guys, my name's Jeff. Welcome to another episode of the Autistic Owl podcast. We still don't have a name for it. This is bugging me so much. We can't agree on a name that we both like. And yeah.
We could just ask the viewers to call it future.
But listen, we're not making this a constant thing because I don't want that to be like every episode we're like, oh, I don't know what it is.
Oh no, we don't know what this is. Oh.
Right. It's dead air, so I'll just cut this. I'm just looking.
Dead air. Well, we could talk about the weather. We've got a clear sky today.
You don't talk about the weather. No one wants to hear that.
We're old now, so we gotta talk about old people things. No, we're saying we've got some winter damage. Like the tree branches are falling on us, and slowly there'll be nothing left because the earth is dying.
Sorry, I didn't actually hear what you said. I'm just laughing at something.
Oh right. And here's me thinking I was fucking hilarious.
Sorry,
What a bastard.
I wrote something on the 17th of October 2021
2 years ago.
at 4 minutes to 8 at night.
What was the specific?
So this must have been
I know you weren't jacking off at that time. Or was he?
Wow. No, this must have been like a sketch idea or something, but it don't make sense.
We'll go on then, read it.
Because I must have written it thinking I'm gonna.
Oh wait, do you want me to read out mine? I've actually got some notes from ages ago. You read yours first and I'll read mine.
Alright.
It's gonna be nonsense.
It says, two rate-connected minds, all powerful and shit, start talking about a merge, manage to snap out of it and tell guy about girl.
Oh my god.
Right, so
What does that mean?
I don't know, but then I write this. Read a guy's mind and be like, oh, are you still friends with Linda? He's all defeated like, nah. I'm like, you should call her right now. Calls it and it just says the number you have dialed is incorrect. Please try again. That happened to you earlier.
That just happened to me earlier.
Why did I write that?
Oh.
What could that be? What's that got to do with it? Anything I wrote there's got naught to do with the next thing I've written.
Your mind is an enigma.
Two rate-connected minds, all powerful and shit, start talking about a merge.
We were talking about simulation, that's sort of a merge.
Well,
Just reality.
we're all... See, it's popping off. We're all connected to the same server. It's like, you know, you wouldn't say a player you're playing it against on like Call of Duty or something. You're not saying, oh, that's me, that. Like,
Miles of memes have logged in.
yeah, well, that's another person in. We share the same space, but we are at.
Well, we programmed, or is someone like controlling us? Or we controlling ourselves? An avatar?
No, we've been given the illusion that we can control ourselves. But if you think about simulation, right? I'm not even in a computer sense, but just in a chemical sense. Physically, how we understand brain chemistry and chemical interactions that change outcomes of like our physical appearance, the way we think, the way we act, how emotions work. You know, everything you do is because of how your brain filters certain chemicals through, and that's what dopamine is. When you're eating that right now, that gives you endorphins, like a rush of endorphins, and that helps like make you feel better. That's why they call it soul food. It's not good for you physically, but you enjoy it, so it makes your being feel better. That's just a chemical rush you're feeling. So how a computer works is programmed, you know, digitally. Well, you could
Really?
literally, if you could replicate the actual feeling of something, the actual emotion of something, if you could put that onto a computer, then dude, that's it. Game over at that point. If you could program things like pain, which in a way we've worked around illusions of that. You know, like when we go to see a 4D film, and there might be you see it punch you in the back when there's like a fight scene. Well, it's like it's like an immersive simulated reality where real physical applications are being applied to you to simulate an out of body, out of world experience. Do you get what I mean?
So I mean, someone can kind of like electrocute my nutsack from the real world.
Well, I don't know where you're going with that, but
well, you said pain's program.
I don't think it's like someone's playing us right now, like a video
like
game.
Mod it and
I think we've been left on a server somewhere and we've been forgotten for a long time. But I think that where we're at now with how we can perceive certain conceptualized realities, I've said this before many times, that we are definitely heading towards. I mean, look at ChatGPT. Even South Park's just made an episode on it. Like, we have the ability now to remove probably an alarming percentage of all jobs across the planet via computer, and that number is getting higher and higher and higher each year until eventually every job on the planet will be able to be done by artificial intelligence, by pure microscopic light inside a chip that somehow can now replicate feelings and emotions, physical pain and things like trauma and regret, right? Real like understanding of concepts. Only through the feeling and emotion you would truly understand it. On paper you can understand what words mean, but you don't understand what those words mean until you feel them, right? When the computer eventually learns to feel them, well then this happens. This is what happened. That's what I'm saying. It happened. We are inside it. And when we die, we go, oh, that was fun.
That'll be awesome.
Oh, right, good.
At least I get a life for that, doesn't it?
And you ask your mate, how long were I in there? He goes like, about 10 minutes, bro. I've just been for a shit. And you're like, whoa.
Your entire life was worth one of your friends.
Yeah, but you know, like how in Rick and Morty when they play Roy.
Yeah, that Roy.
You know
game.
how
that's another level.
Morty comes out and he goes, oh, who am I? Whoa, who are you? Wait, you're Rick and I'm like mad at you for some reason. Well, it's exactly that. Like, I feel like you would quickly snap out of it like a dream, right? You know when you have a dream,
that.
you don't know how long you've been in there or
when
how.
You come out of it.
Say
feels like.
Say you have a relationship with someone in this dream that you never met, but yet you love them, spend all your time with them, and you know that in this dream, and then you wake up. It's not like, lost my wife. No, you go back. You're like, I'm gonna have a piss, get some breakfast, start my day. You don't think that holds any significance because you say it's not real. But what I'm saying is, people don't want to imagine a reality in which everything we know and experience isn't real.
I've got a hair in my mouth. Oh, it's. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, I saw that for a while.
You just watched me.
But in all across all societies, in all the civilizations on the planet, there are distractions designed to keep you from doing the tasks that you're meant to do.
This is a distraction right now. Stop watching.
Exactly. So you shouldn't be watching this podcast.
Leave! What are you doing here?
Because you'll start believing crazy things. We should bring tinfoil hats. We should. You know what? When we start talking about this shit, we should put a tinfoil hat on.
Well, that's a good shout.
But listen, I'm just saying. I'm just going to end this topic.
No,
that's fine. I just want to say this last thing. I'm saying it's a more believable, conceptualized view of reality than any religion that I've studied. That's it.
Okay, that's fair. One thing I would like to point out, well, not point out, but parallel universes. If we're in a server, do parallel universes exist on parallel servers? You were assuming that there's one server that would have been left on. What if there's
if when you say parallel, do you mean the universes are the same with a slight distinction?
Yes.
So that could be infinitely anything, right? It could be that in one, that's there, and everything else was the exact same, but just for 5 minutes that were there instead of being there. Then
which that's believable.
Then if we're talking true infinity, then there'd be an infinite amount of universes where they are simulated.
But they all simulated, yeah, I was gonna say.
But there's also an infinite amount of universes that aren't simulated. So then
we don't exist.
No. Wouldn't that make us a flip of a coin?
What, if we did exist or not?
No, that we're... Well, I'm not talking about exist, I just mean if we're in a simulation.
Well, yeah,
as to
you
not
could
being
argue
in
that, because there's no proof to say yes or no to it until we see a glitch in the Matrix.
I think the main problem with the simulation theory is that we are basing this entirely on our very much felt real existences. Like, our existences and everything we've experienced feels so real, and we know that dreams are like these parts of us that we don't really talk about, they just happen.
Yeah.
They do feel like they're in another dimension, but like...
People say it's your brain practicing.
Most people will not tell you anything significant about the dream world itself. They will say, oh,
this happened.
I had this crazy dream last night. Don't really remember what happened, but we did this, we did that.
Specifics, not like little bits.
That never turns into a whole conversation of like the philosophy of the dream world itself. People, bear in mind,
accept there was some crazy brain shit going on that we just can't understand.
You spend 35 to 40% of your life like asleep,
and majority
something
of that is,
like that.
Majority of that is dreaming. Yeah.
Because when you get older, you sleep more, so it might eventually be 50%. So you probably do spend. If you live an old life, you probably will spend half your entire life asleep.
They say the dreams only happen in like the waking period of your brain.
Well, you first have to before we make like any judgments or like guesses on it. You have to understand that when I talk about brain chemistry earlier, when you're asleep, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, that's slowly released into your system. Now, you can smoke DMT and people get massively high from it. I've never done it because it sounds like a crazily...
Mine's not going to come back. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like a very profound experience, I'll just say that.
Sounds too intense for me to handle.
I think I'm ready for it now, but I'd have to plan for it and have it and know where to get it. I have no idea where to get it. Other than like the dark web.
You need to be surrounded by people
I've never used the dark web. I don't have like I don't have the technical knowledge to do it.
That's fair. Probably best for the best. If it happens, it happens.
That and if you get caught buying shit off dark.
No, it's not worth the risk, in my opinion either.
Well, they seize it at post office, I think. I've heard.
Got your name all over
it. So I was talking. Anyway, I sidetracked myself. I was talking about when you're asleep, DMT is released into your brain, which essentially is a heavy psychoactive chemical that interacts. Again, it's a chemical that's released like a valve. If you imagine a valve that you slowly turn, and that when you're asleep, this releases more and more, and then eventually just tightens off. It's what these receptors are. They sort of like block off. You imagine like a hair follicle. How like when people go bald, same with your taste buds, they start to recede, things like that, and you know the when you're asleep, you're hallucinating while unconscious, and that is essentially the parts that you remember in the real world when you're awake and conscious. Those parts that you remember are a trip. You're hallucinating, and you are in rest mode. So your body's shut down, but your brain somewhat stays active. Because how could you be breathing without any brain activity? Your brain's constantly active. It just shuts certain compartments down. Like a computer, when it's troubleshooting, will shut down and have to delete and reinstall certain apps. Like how medications work to make people better. There's something in it that needs installing, putting inside to help it run better.
You get where you're coming from?
I've made so many parallels between a computer and a human brain that it's ridiculous. If you actually think about almost everything they do,
Yeah.
and it's based on electrical impulse, which is what the human brain is.
Can,
How you move is based on electrical impulse. Our computer
crazy.
runs.
Well-
Think about the word run.
Yeah.
It runs. Computer runs.
Your refrigerator's running.
Shit!
What I was going to say is, fuck, I've lost my train of thought now.
This image right here, what you're seeing, that entire wall is now inside this. And your grandfather was probably alive to experience all of that. So it don't surprise me that these old people are too scared to come out of the house anymore because they see all these people
Technology
dressed in
just
weird clothing.
gone too fast for them. It's gone too
We're
fast.
all walking around like aliens. We used
Yeah,
to be
we are.
like,
Yeah, we used to talk to each other. We used to
and now we're like this.
Now we're all ignoring everyone, getting
Zombies.
phones in. Got earbuds in.
It's like zombies like this.
No, we are. We have, in a sense, we're starting to de-evolve now because the technology is becoming that advanced that we're becoming more obsolete. I've got numerous other things to talk about.
But if it is just a rare few instances where that's happening,
possible.
when you say about like DNA, how that works, how it's like a chance
Yeah, it is.
of like each time you have like a 50-50 flip of whether something could happen or not.
It's what we do in our lives that affects our DNA from future lives.
Well, I don't know the number, but like I think there's a point to this. When a guy jerks his man milk, I think there is like
Mad milk.
millions millions of sperm cells inside that.
Yeah.
So like if that's all going towards one egg in the womb,
Yeah.
there is maybe only in one sperm or two sperm cells out of the few million that are trying to
Carrying that
get to the
new
egg.
genetic.
are carrying like
DNA.
a new genetic code
Yeah.
that is
I agree
more
with that. That makes
beneficial to maybe strength or intelligence or charisma or artistic skill, or just a great thinker, creationist, whatever,
Well,
religious person, atheist, whatever.
That's something else.
No, but I mean, like, if
know
you're
what
in
you
a
mean.
religious family and there's that one person that goes, no.
What, he was a different sperm cell. It's his sperm
Yeah,
cell.
yeah, exactly.
No, that's not the point. I think that's about your upbringing and your what you've
Okay.
been exposed to. But what I was going to say is wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth. We don't need wisdom teeth anymore. You know what we need wisdom teeth for? To chew like bark and nuts that we don't. We've got other things to mulch it down.
Our jaws are smaller now, aren't they?
I don't have wisdom teeth. I have.
But you've got a tiny
I've
jaw.
got 4 less teeth than you. I counted my teeth the other day and I'm missing 4 teeth. And I was born without them because my body doesn't need them. I'm more evolved.
I think my bottom wisdom
I'm
teeth.
not more evolved, but you know.
I think they're both fully through.
Yeah.
Like
You
they're
don't
fine.
feel, if you don't feel pain, that's a good thing. That's just like.
I know you won't want to stick your finger in my mouth, but
Who would?
my wisdom tooth at the back here
Yeah.
is razor sharp.
Is it? Oh, that means that means you're a bit
Like it's super sharp.
prehistoric. You've got prehistoric DNA.
And this one here, at back,
Yeah.
only points upwards like in corner like a spike.
Well, I don't have any, so maybe
so they're in back in my gums. They're up here.
majority of my sperm don't have that. Don't have wisdom teeth. I would say the majority of my sperm don't have wisdom teeth.
The majority.
Possibly.
Miles just said for the record,
They're not going to carry that DNA. They're not going to carry that DNA.
the majority of my sperm
my sperm
carries what?
doesn't have wisdom teeth.
Doesn't have wisdom
Yeah,
teeth.
yeah. And I think that'll continue if the sperm, that's how genetics change over time. The chances of that sperm having that DNA is lowered because you don't need it anymore. Also, I've had appendicitis. We don't need appendix anymore. It's
No.
going to get to a point where kids are going to be born without appendixes, a missing organ, because we don't need it anymore. And I've had mine out 'cause my body rejected it.
Well,
The possibility that my sperm, I might have more sperm than you that don't want appendix anymore. And they're like, right, we're not carrying that DNA. And it's just like pot luck, like you said, like whatever sperm cell gets to the egg, and it's same with the lady as well with her egg. But her eggs are all set at birth. So it's usually all their DNA codes already set at birth. It's usually the males that change the genetics. I know that's how I've come to understand how gene changes work over time. Because our sperm change constantly.
no.
No?
you're mixing genetics up with X and Y chromosomes.
No, yeah.
So women,
No, I get what.
women don't have Y chromosomes, which means that they can't have
Yeah.
boys.
Right.
So only a female can provide another female.
Yeah.
Or woman. I know some of you guys don't like the term female.
We'll not get onto that topic.
Just get-
You know
yeah.
what we mean.
You get all yourself. You go watch something else. Look, men can give a boy or a girl. Women can only give a girl.
I mean, how does that work? Oh, you mean the genetic code, right?
So all that means is the reason why it's still 50-50 in the world and not like 75 is because it still is like a 50-50 flip
Yeah.
on whether this new egg decides to become X dominant or Y dominant.
I'm gonna have some blueberries.
And listen, don't tell any. Oh, it's such an overplayed joke at this point. But
Go on then.
Don't tell any trans people
Oh
that there's only X and Y.
no!
Double I.
What about Z?
I reckon that showed up. It bounced right up log and went up. XYZ.
What about Z chromosome?
Listen, people treat genders like Pokemon games these days. Like, yeah, mate, you got that emerald and that. Oh yeah, trade you one of my genders for two of yours, like.
Diddlers can be any gender. They'll fuck anything.
We used to collect when we were in school. When we were little in school, we weren't friends when we were little, but we both did
We had the same shit. Yeah.
same shit growing up.
Fire red, but you will leaf green.
We traded Pokemon cards
Yeah.
when we were like 5 or 6
I never had a
in
Charizard.
playground.
Never had a Charizard.
I
And
did.
you did.
You
Well, I bought it
guys,
off him.
you guys need to know something crazy. Oh wait, you own that now?
Yeah, I bought it off him. 45.
I got that card from a pack when I was little.
I never had it. I had every other card except Charizard.
There were like 2 people in my school who had it. And the way we used to play Pokemon back in the day, I don't know if you did the same. We'd hold cards in his hands, and we'd be like, Hydro Pump! Whoa! And you'd be like, mine's just done like 50. We didn't know rules, but we're like looking at HP. I was just like, because I had Charizard, I was just like, bro, mine just killed you straight up. So-
we didn't play like that. We just kind of
But I used to
traded.
run around with card like this, messing about with, and I kept that card then in a binder from being
I'm glad you did.
like 6 or 7 years old, having that card, and now it's in. I mean, 21 years later, it's in
Just
Miles'
bastard
possession. What's the condition?
No, you wanted Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster pack, didn't you?
Yeah, what's the condition of the card though?
Oh, I ain't got it graded yet, but like it's decent. It's like there's like
It's heavily played,
yeah, it's got like a scuff. It's got like one little scuff. I think it's only one little.
but I
scuff,
ran around with that
But-
card.
Yeah, no, it's a good card. It's
When I
good
were
quality.
little-
Yeah,
Kept that card.
good quality.
See, that's the
I'd-
traits of autism. That like.
I'd
keeping
reckon
shit.
it'd get a good grade
pristine.
if I got it graded. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Like not amazing.
I don't
grading,
know.
but, like it'd be up there.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, maybe a 6 out of 10. That's still good.
It was one at best.
One of the rarest.
No, one at. Well, yeah. It weren't first edition, was it?
No, they're different. That's even rarer. Shadowless. Ooh, talking thousands. No, I was just gonna say I was playing Fire Red while you were playing Leaf Green. I had Pokemon Yellow on original Game Boy. And Japan, they had the green. They had Pokemon Green, and I wanted that one, but it was in Japanese. I didn't want it. As far as I aware. What I was gonna say before we moved and segued.
We sounded like we just talked about Pokemon like it was rate depressing.
It was
You
amazing.
you just realise that.
Are we boomers now? Are we the boomers?
Do you know what it is? It's hard for us to look back on certain things like that because we had that shit growing up when it was fresh
Yeah,
and when it was good. People like, but it's even better now because there's loads of it.
Nah.
First of all, it's quality over quantity,
Yeah.
right? Just because there's a lot of it, don't mean it's good. Second of all, I feel like we've witnessed the whole
The peak.
technological advancement.
Oh, yeah.
If you look back to
We saw that shit
SNES
evolve.
days and like original Pong back like in the 70s, nothing were happening for decades. It was just all pixelated stuff
Yeah.
for decades.
We've
right?
done crazy stuff with the pixels though.
Yeah, but what I mean is
Wasn't
like
beyond that.
games were just pixelated for almost 30 entire years
Yeah.
until eventually PS1 came out. They were like, oh, 3D polygons, which were mental.
Mental.
3D games, bro.
Playing that shit, I was like, what?
Not just like, because back in the day when they had like, they were working on like 2D coding, so like there was some weird like, Master System games that were like 3D but not really, but they were weird.
I remember seeing those, and
Like-
it looked just so obscure.
It was like if you were to draw, you know, like on a PC screen,
I know what you
you
mean.
just draw a square
Yeah.
and then draw another square
Yeah.
and then match them up. You're like,
And
that's
it's like,
3D.
That's
now.
3D now.
Well, that's
It's like,
essentially what they did. But no, now games are like
oh man.
their own simulated worlds, and that's what I mean. Like we're gonna reach that level where you're gonna wake up one day and not know if you're in a video game or if you're in real life. And it'll be a real like life-changing moment. Like shit.
I've already made movies on it and shit, but
You know what we need to do? Return to Monk.
Monk.
Or is it Monkey?
I don't know.
Return to Monkey. No, you know the meme, right?
Oh,
it says
wait.
Monk with an E on
Is
end.
that what you were trying to do?
Monkey, but without
I was
the
thinking
Y.
monk like this.
Yeah.
I was like, what? You
No.
want us to go back to like 16th century and just become monks?
Actually, that would be great.
Yeah, do.
I don't even know when monks originated. Did you just say that randomly? 16th century.
They go way back, but I was thinking like back when nothing was stopping them.
I won't say 16th. Maybe 1st century.
Nothing was stopping them. Return to monk.
You know what's so weird about, like if you think about, you know the biggest impact religion's probably had on the entire world? We all agree that the year is not even what the year actually is.
Yeah, that's true. Well, here's another thing.
How is it 2023? As humans been on planet for 2,000 years?
Just since Christ.
I don't think so.
They
A
just-
lot longer than that.
Ever since Christ was born, it's just like, oh yeah, we're just going by his birthday, so like he remembers his birthday.
But that's so weird that we do that.
No, it is weird.
I used to think
There was a
BC
reason
meant
for it.
before Christ and
Yeah.
AD meant after death.
After death, no, it's after Dom.
I know AD's.
can't remember.
I know
Domini? Dominus? I can't remember.
Anno
actually. It's been a
Domini.
while since I've said it.
Is it Anno Domini?
Anno Domini, which in Latin means.
What's BC?
Okay, no, it's like BC is.
It's not.
Well, yeah, it is.
That's what we said when we were kids.
No, BC means before Christ.
BC.
AD means that other Latin word. I don't know why they did that. What does BC mean?
What's it say?
I don't know, it's come up with some other shit.
Let me see.
Common era, but that doesn't make sense.
No, let me see what you typed.
I said, what does BC mean?
Type in, does BC mean before Christ?
Okay.
Then we'll know.
Before Christ. Before Christ, standardised under the Julian and Georgian calendar, that's when we fucked up the entire thing. The system spread throughout Europe and the Christian world during the centuries that followed. AD stands for Anno Domini.
Is that to do with Rome?
Latin for in the year of the Lord. So with the
Oh, I figured it had something to do with Romans.
BC stands for before Christ.
Weren't it Roman Empire?
No, it's Latin.
Well, what soldiers that killed Jesus? I'm pretty sure they were Romans.
Latin Romans.
They were Jewish though, right?
Who killed Jesus? Jesus.
The Jews killed Jesus,
Who killed Jesus?
even though Jesus were a Jew himself. People forget that. You know what's so weird? Do you know what is so messed up? You know when people talk about how Kanye West like was so
Scary.
great for like
Gospel.
hating all these Jews and he was like modern day Hitler and all that. Most of the people that were saying that were religious.
Oh yeah.
Christian people. Because he's like strong, heavily Christian beliefs.
Religion.
I don't even think Kanye West knew that his own
Yeah.
saviour was Jewish.
Well-
Because he wouldn't be saying that.
Religion.
How can you be religious
Oh, yeah.
and then start talking like Hitler? You know what? I'm going to say it right now. If you believe in Kanye West, you're an idiot that thinks you're smart and never had a proper academic education in your entire life. You believe everything you hear on Twitter, and you're probably like Andrew Tate.